That's it. Today I want to talk about, as you know, like for example, in horror movies, you have very often the monsters that appear in the horror movies, they appear like from the darkness to some degree. So let's say you have a narrative, right? You have a lore of a guy buying a new house. Something happened in that house, of course. Him or alone with his girlfriend, with his brother, sister, or with his family moving into that house. Like maybe they know that something happened, then they walk around, blah 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 blah, and at some point somebody goes either to the basement or somebody goes to the attic, like the roof room, I don't know, the loft. And at that point you have a monster appearing, right? So to some degree, like a basement and a loft, or like that attic place, the room at the roof is like a, to some degree you can say, a place of darkness, right? It's like, because it's always dark there, it's a place that almost nobody goes down or up to, because you don't actually use it that much, and it's not like a some room in your flat, for example, a toilet that you visit every day long, a kitchen that you cook in 3 times a day, or like 2 times a day, doesn't matter, bedroom which you sleep in, living room where you chill and stuff like that, and all the other rooms, right? And the attic and the as well as the basement. Maybe the basement is not that. Maybe a loft is not that common as the basement, or the attic is not that common as the basement. But still, to some degree, you have this narrative about the basement and the attic, where I mean, like, you have monsters going out from there, right? So usually it's dark there, especially when the guy opens the attic, right? He puts his head out, and like a monster can appear because it's dark. And the thing is, like, and the same kind of narrative happens also, like, with the horror movies that include like forests and stuff like that, right? So you have a guy or like a group of friends going into the forest, and they just get lost to some degree there, and you just have, like, let's say, already a sunset, everybody are enjoying, and now it's dark, and now that's when monsters pull up, especially also like in I think in cartoons too, right, where you have a camping group and they camp around the fire, or like I forgot those guys, Boy Scouts, right? And you have Boy Scouts sitting around the campfire, and you have their teacher telling them a horror story, and at that moment the monster appears from behind or something like that, right? So it's basically, I would say that the horror movie takes a metaphor, or a representation, or puts stuff in an allegoric way, in a more physical way, but it's the same kind of concept, maybe mentally, I don't know, spiritually more. It has the same kind of representation, about like the guy opening the loft and the darkness. So like, what I want to say is that, like, when a person goes into the darkness, right? He opens the shit, he gets into the darkness. He is in a space that has no representations. So, in to some degree, he's in the void. He's in a place where everything is dark. You have zero light there. You have zero light. Because if you would had light, you would act, like, to some degree you would. I mean, like, you have a light, right? At least you know that you can go there, and there's something in the end of that light, or that light can light some parts around you. Let's say, you have a window and the sun just goes there, and already the loft or the attic is kind of more visible. Now you can see that you have a table there, that you have a closet there, that you have a, like, saw machine there or something like that, right? And you have some creepy motherfucker sitting there. But not about the creepy motherfucker, more about that. So when you have zero light, you're like in a space, an unknown space. You are in the space that has no representation, right? And now at this point, due to the fact that you're in the darkness, you're able to make up representations because you have no representations, and now you're kind of going up, you're going down to the fear emotion or like anxiety because you don't have something that can cover you as a shield. Because if you would have a representation, you would actually, you would know, let's say you have a representation, you have like, you're going out to the loft or the attic and you see that there's a table, there's a closet, and you're like, okay, at least I know that there's not only monsters surrounding me, you know. Because like in the darkness, depending on where you fly in, you will draw those images around you because everything is dark, you don't see shit. It's like in when you sleep, you know, you can make up images. So here you can also make up images to some degree, to the degree that you can even make it real type shit, you know, because it's darkness. I mean, like, you can believe into it and live in it that much and put that much energy, attention into it, that you can make it real, even maybe not physically real, but real mindfully, that your mindset will think that it's real type shit. And you will see like different, somebody will shake, somebody will do this and that and third. But going back to the darkness, yeah, so you have a darkness, you have zero representations, and now to some degree you feel naked. You feel naked because you don't have something, some type of shield, some type of representation which is like a shield or like a armor for you to not be vulnerable and not to be just open like that, you know. Because in the darkness, which has no representation, you are just open like that. I mean, like, maybe not all of y'all will feel the fear or anxiety emotions, because depending on you how strong you are, right? I mean, like, some people can trust their own intuition, and they don't need some type of representation, and they will just go with the flow type shit, you know. But some of the people, they need something at least which that they can jump in, because when you're in the dark you have no representations and you are making your own representation at the moment, right? So it's like, first of all, you have no representation, you already go down to the like anxiety or like the fear. As a spirit, you go down deep to the anxiety or like the fear emotions. Then since you're swimming in those waters, you're making up representation of that water, which are like subconsciously, kind of, right? You're making those representations from the fear water. Remember that, like, if you have seen about how you make swords and shit like that, I think that the video will be before this one, because I haven't posted the one before yet too. And like, you open a treasure and you, from those waters, you make a sword. And it's like, if those waters are the waters of fear or anxiety. Okay, my bad, I know, I have to like put it all together again. 6 minutes. Okay, so yeah, if those waters are the waters of fear, then you will make a sword, a representation with which you will fight the demons or the shit around you, the void, the darkness. Would be the sword of fear for you, not for them type shit. I mean, like, you can use it for them too, but it's like you have to be the magician at this point already. Yeah. So basically, that's the same representation you have in horror films, right? Where you are getting to the attic, you have the darkness, you have no representations, you have like unfamiliar situation, unfamiliarity. I don't know. You will say it. You will say it. So yeah, you're going out to this unfamiliar space. You have no representation. It's darkness, darkness, darkness. Now you create your own representations, and that's where you have the demons coming from, right? You open the shit and look, it's dark, it's dark, it's dark. Now it's quiet, and now at one point, bam, and the monster went out. So it's like he went out. Because kind of the man created him type shit like that, you know. You can make a lot of horror stories on that narrative too. I think it will be more interesting than just having a monster. I mean, like, but usually monsters get into that place because also of some BS, because somebody died and their ghost stayed there, or some kind of toy was not harassed, but it was cursed, right? And now this cursive thingy goes around. But I mean, like, even if you can take the whole house as a representation of the person's mind who opens the attic, you can also kind of make up different kind of narratives about that, right? That the person had something in his childhood, which now in this dark attic, in this space of darkness, triggered something, and it accumulated, it mutated, it evolved into something monstrous, into something very dark and scary, and now it appears to this guy because he's in darkness and he was able to catch it, type shit like that. So yeah, so that's basically it. That's how it also works, not only in forests, in horror movies and attics, but in the basements too. But it also works the same, I think, kind of narrative you can find in paganism, which then turned into, like, you know, that in winter they had a lot of allegories about winter, or allegories about dark forests, where, for example, you go inside there and you have different monsters there, and you have those allegories about different creatures that go out in the night, and this, that, and third. Of course, this is culture too, but the thing is, like, the appearance of those monsters usually comes from the darkness, and it comes from the darkness because spiritually, and maybe then, and then mentally, and then physically. I mean, like, physically maybe not, I mean, like, too, but maybe not as much as mentally and spiritually. You have them appearing from the dark, right? And that's how they appear, because of unfamiliar place, and due to the fact that you're trying to make to some degree this unfamiliar place to some degree familiar to you, and you create images which will be like some type of lights which will lead you through that darkness type shit. You know, you will have a familiarity or representation which says like, oh yeah, you are in the attic. You're in the attic. It's dark here, but you're still in your house. You're still in your place, and you at least now you can get on the. You can step like 2 floors upper, right? Or you can get into the attic for you to get that little DJ player type shit, right? And so yeah, those are representations. And if you're like in the unknown space, which then transits into fear or anxiety and similar aspects, now you build the representations which can end up being monstrous to you or very scary to you. So you can be like, oh no, I'm not getting out on those attic, creating a representation because it's very dark there and maybe there will be a big spider. So you see, now you will not go out there because you think there's a spider, but you actually the one who created that spider. You haven't seen the light itself, how it actually is, and you just created something from a void, and with that representation you already associate that place, you know. So that's like creating a portal for the monsters to get out. But like I'm telling about spiritual monsters, but those spiritual monsters then can end up being in your mind, right? And your mind then creates them in physical type shit. Doesn't matter how, but you still kind of create them, even though, or you will go crazy and you'll just go around killing people, or you will make somebody scared, or I don't know, or somehow it will be created. Yeah. So yeah, don't be afraid, create your own shit.